Weird sciencey facts that boggle my mind. Photons are light, right? Particles of light. And we know that light travels really fast, like the speed of light. And the sun creates a lot of photons, and it takes them 8 minutes to get from the surface of the sun to the surface of Earth. Well, 8 minutes in our time. It takes no time for the photons, but that's another video altogether that I've already done earlier in this series. The sun creates these photons because there's a giant nuclear fusion reactor. See, the sun is a huge ball of hydrogen, and because it's so huge, it has a lot of gravitational force that is immense at its core. So immense that it squeezes the hydrogen atoms together so tightly that they fuse, hence fusion, and become helium atoms. And when this happens, it releases massive amounts of energy, a lot of that in the form of light and photons. Now, this is all happening in the middle of the sun, and the sun has a radius of about 435,000 miles, and light travels at about 186,000 miles a second, so it should take those photons about 2.5 seconds to reach the surface of the sun. 2.5 seconds to the surface of the sun, 8 minutes to your lawn. You'd figure the photons making your grass grow were created a little over 8 minutes ago. So it's pretty surprising when you find out that those photons were created when mammoths still walked the earth. How does that math add up? Well, apparently it's quite the party at the sun's core. So when it's time for those photons to leave, they aren't walking a very straight line. They stumble left, right, forward, backward, up, down, every which way and up. And that's because when it's time for gamma rays to make their journey from the core to the surface, they start running into protons like they're driving on an Atlanta highway after a dusting of snow. And every time they have one of these collisions, those protons take on extra energy, which then they emit as more gamma ray photons. So when that happens, those photons can go in any direction, including right back to where they came from. And that happens again and again and again, trillions of times over tens of thousands of years before that photon finally makes it to the surface and can begin its 8-minute journey to turn you into that bronze god while you're on your beach vacation. So the fact that light can simultaneously be the fastest thing in the universe and slower than Lauren Boebert is pretty mind-boggling.